all for being here. Thank you for taking part for the choir. Thank you for Ricky Byers and the Agape choir. I'm just setting myself up here for future music. So, and that's the future music. That's your cue. Now, our theme for the month was embracing change. And you saw it was a big thing for me. One thing that used to be really scary for me was speaking in front of people. I think I'm still working on it, but I've pretty much got it handled. I'm in a pretty good place with that. And there are some other things that always happen with people that happen with change. And I remember when I first started writing about this talk, I was, and my process is, just to let you know, that I placed the date and the time I'm going to speak on the top of a page. I just put it on the computer or on a scratch pad or something like that. Write down the date, the theme for the month, and I come up with a title, whatever may pop into my head. So this month it was I Love Change. And then I just wait for inspiration. Maybe it's a book, maybe it's something I see on TV or movie, or somebody I talk to, then it comes up and I get inspired by it. And then I've got little notes, and then after a week or so, and I compile all those and come up with the top. Well, nothing had come up for me with this for a little while, and I took a closer look. I mean, I didn't even have any idea what the content of this is going to be. I just knew the title, I Love Change. When I looked at my top of that page and a blank underneath, I noticed that Sunday talk, capital letters, embracing capital change, and what I had actually written was I, small letter, love change. What do you think I meant by that? Like change. It wasn't, I love change. I really
should.
It was a very telling thing for me and a very true thing for me. At least I thought so. There was no mistaking what I meant and how I felt and my real feeling about change. I've never been really good with change. I tolerate change. I adapt. But I don't jump with glee every time I think about something changing. And I don't like when people leave me, or when I have to leave something I'm familiar with. I can relate back to, I remember when I was very young. This would have been when I was 8 years old or so, and my parents decided, for their own reasons, that they were going to pick up, and we lived in the Midwest, in South Dakota, Dakota. In case you didn't catch that. And packed up the 3 boys and put us in the car and moved to California. So my school, whatever friends I had, whatever relatives were there are still there. My parents, too, left all of their friends and everything, left my school and moved. I think maybe that's where it began. So many times in our youth, in all of our youth, things happen that you hold on to, that you chain, and that you keep with you, and that you make part of your belief system. And part of mine was, change isn't good. My parents all must have also felt it, because they left their parents, they left their brothers and sisters, all of their friends, and moved to California. So I'm sure I picked up on some of that, besides what I was feeling on my own. So I adapted that. So now, many years later, whenever something like that comes up and there's some change, I get a not so good feeling. And I'm still working on that. It's a thing in progress. And just because I do the work, just because I'm here, just because I'm writing talks like this, doesn't mean I've got it all handled. The question that always comes up for me is, why do I react like that? Why do I respond? And it doesn't mean I won't ever get upset again once I've handled it or figured out where it came from. It still comes up. So it's not a matter anymore of how I react to something, like a gut reaction. It's how do I, my class will know this, respond to this. There's quite a difference between reaction and responding. Life happens. Life happens. No matter how enlightened you get, don't forget. We take classes, we learn, we read, we meditate, we do our affirmations. And still, the tree falls on top of my car. Still, the basement floods. Life still happens.
Did a tree fall on top of the car?
No. But our basement did flood. We're still working on that. We're still working through that. That's why I feel this philosophy, this science of mind, this new thought, this ancient thoughts is so important. Because I think maybe all of us here are seekers and we're looking for something that's missing. Maybe it's a sense of home. Maybe you don't know who you really are, what we're here for. Maybe you don't know what your purpose in life is. Maybe you're asking, is there more? Am I alone? We find ourselves impelled to try new things. Something different. It's not always a choice. It's like a calling. Like there's something inside of us. There's that spiritual part of us that is guiding us sometimes. Turn left. Turn right. Do something that you just intuitively, instinctively have an idea that you should do that, and it turns out to be the right thing, or you don't do it and you might regret it. But it's trying to learn those feelings. So you try different things to try and learn about that. You want transformation in your life? What do I need to do? Where do I need to go? How do I need to manage this in my life? I remember when I was 13 years old, and I was raised with a traditional Christian background, and I was learning things, and I had a lot of questions that weren't necessarily getting answered. Not for me, not at that time. I had questions that just feeling unresolved. I was looking for another way, and then I found the science of mind. There was a church we were led to go to, and the first day I was there, I felt at home. I knew that there were some answers here for me, and we're all different. We're all searching for something. So whether it's here or another center or some other way you're guided or led or it feels right, then do that. For me, it was this teaching. I felt whole and I felt satisfied, like I hadn't for years. To be honest with ourselves, we always think we'd like to be honest with ourselves when examining our own motives for doing things. You got our own belief systems. The thought occurred to me, if we are co-creators in our universe, and we say you are, if we are co-creators in our universe, and the universe is reflective It is a cause and effect. It is a universe of reciprocity. It is a universe that reflects back to you what you think, what you are, what you do, how you act, react, or respond. Then I thought, then we are actually creating all the changes in our lives. We're creating them. Not necessarily life or somebody outside of you, something outside of you, some force that is doing it to you. That's victim consciousness. We are generating change all of the time. I've heard before that maybe one of the most consistent things in the world we can only ever really rely on is change. You change your thinking, we say, you change your life. You don't have enough friends in your life? Be more friendly. You don't have enough love in your life? Be more loving. You don't have enough spirituality in your life? It's up to you to do something about that. Not God. You. Now God is, and God is always available, or the spiritual source, or the oneness, the wholeness, the divine intelligence, the ultimate reality, whatever you choose to call it. And you need to open up and to allow it in. And if you are not as close to God as you once thought you were, or to Spirit, it's not the same. I'm not as close as I used to be. One question. Who do you think changed? You or the divine? Who do you think actually changed? And I was taking a look at this talk I'm writing, and I'm thinking, I'm talking about fear of change. I hate change. I don't like change. I tolerate it, but change is no good for me. And when you take a look, and I look back, it's like, my gosh, I have changed so much, so many times, done so many big things. How did I do that? When I was that 13-year-old and I changed from my family choice of religion and training and background, and I wanted to do something else, it was a huge need for me at 13 to stop and do something else. It was a big change. That wasn't like just changing my hairstyle. That was changing my lifestyle. So I myself created this move, this change, and it was this big separation between me and my family for many years. But also after many years, me finding my faith again and my new home, I found a way back to that spiritual source. And my path was through this valley of self-discovery. Who was I really? What did I want really? What answers was I looking for? And it took some digging and some deep soul searching. But the changes are real, and they are satisfying and humbling. Now, just in writing this talk, I have uncovered for myself how many great grand changes that I have made. Changes that moved me from my family, changes that moved me back, changes that took me out of school and moved me halfway around the world. Commitment and resolve brought me back. So many things. How could I ever thought that change was anything less than a beautiful movement in my life? things come up. What is the lesson for me here? What is this for me? What is here for me to do? Take a look. Running and hiding or avoiding doesn't solve anything. And sometimes it's hard. And sometimes we have to do it anyway. This seemed like fun. It was easy. And I'm sure, I hope it was fun for you. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't for me. I thought that my voice was going to be coming over the mic and I was actually going to sing something that clearer. Was probably surprised at. And if Allie sees this, because I always told her, well, I'm not going to sing. Now, and things will still come up. Hello. He's gone. That's okay. It's not the same gut wrenching that it used to be. I found a new awareness of what's possible when change happens. Am I moving from being a child to a man? Am I changing careers? Is this an opportunity for me? Not a bad thing? Am I going to do this and meet the love of my life? Yes. And sometimes this change is moving you to a path, to discover a new path. A path that was always there, but you never saw it through the old path, through what you were used to doing. What are you holding on to from your past? What are you holding on to that no longer serves you? It's okay to let it go if it doesn't, and it harms no one. We recently, in our class, discussed visioning, the art of visioning, especially taken from Michael Beckwith in his book, Life Visioning. And he talked a little bit about it's clearly not that we've done a lot of visualization where you actually project your idea of what you want and then strive through steps and setting goals to achieve that. That's fine, that's good, that's visualization. But visioning is a little bit different. Visioning is about clearing the way in your mind so that you can receive a message. Maybe that intuitive thought, maybe that feeling, that impulsion, that impulse to move or to change or to do something different. And he says when you do this, you get in that place where you're willing to listen and be still and listen. What is up for me to do? Does something come? Maybe not. He says you may have to do this again and again and again. So don't think it's just you hear me saying it, you go home and do it, and you got it. Until you open up and willing to hear what is up for me to do. What must I let go of for this to happen? What must I let go of? What must I embrace? And how must I change? How must I change? A part of the answer for change in your future, say. If you do not change, you know where you'll be 5 years, 10 years from now. You'll be right where you are. So think about that. If you love your life, great. Don't do anything different. If you don't, you're going to need to do something different. Keep doing the same thing, you're going to keep getting the same thing. Find a spiritual center you love. Surround yourself with people of like mind. Smile more, love more, and do what you love to do. Find your passion and do that. Change something, your attitude, your mind, your opinion, your perceptions. I was reading in the magazine. Do you still have that with you? Can I see that? I was reading something by a fellow named Dennis Merritt Jones. Now, Dennis was my very first teacher. And he wrote something in there. He said, for thousands of years, explorers invariably looked at the stars above and the horizon below, that pristine place where the sky and the earth appear to commingle, as a reference point to mark their bearings. Before setting out on a journey to new and distant lands, they understood that if they wanted to expand their horizon, they had to be willing to move away from the comfort of their current location and toward the mystery that lay in front of them, beyond what the eye could discern. The horizon has long wooed us to come closer and see what we have not seen before, to experience a greater dimension of life and finding meaning and purpose in the journey. You see, he was saying we get comfortable and we stop thinking and talking and looking and changing. And our perceptions become very narrow and fixed. Ernest Holmes said, the first principle of a living universe is expansion. There is an impulse within each of us that is constantly pushing out, seeking to express and know more of itself through us. This impulse, as the divine urge, or is the divine urge, when we sense this divine nudge and we choose to give way to it, it lifts us to see new horizons, new possibilities we never before knew existed. Horizon can be defined as the limit of a person's mental perception, experience, or interest. The operative word here is limit. Our perceived horizon sets the limit on our new view of life. So the question is, do we try to expand the horizon itself, or our view of the horizon? We don't change the horizon itself. We can change our view of perception. So change can be good. It may just be that divine nudge that Ernest is talking about. That I have experienced change, the divine urge, many times, and followed it, mostly to successful ends, makes me rethink my belief that I don't love change. I embrace change. I love change. And so it is. Let us take a moment in prayer. Just sitting where you are, just realizing, just taking a moment and noticing that you are surrounded by something so wonderful. This universal goodness, this energy of delight, this source of all that is, by God, everywhere, expressing through you. And it is so connected to you. Like a drop of water you are in the ocean. The essence of all of that ocean resides within you. And that anything is possible. Anything is possible. What is here for me to do? Think about it. Open up. The trick is you don't make it. You don't create or fix anything. You allow the universe to flow through you, and then it happens. What is here for me to do? Well, how must I change? What must I embrace? What must I release and let go of that no longer serves me? What is my lesson here? What is up for me to do? When you embrace it, and your eyes are open, you see so many more possibilities. For each and every one you're seeking, looking, yearning, know that wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you are on the right path. You chose it, you created it. And if you don't, like the momentary direction, you can change it. But just know how supported you are by the universal oneness, the source of all. It is a loving place to be. In your heart, you say, thank you for the gifts I have received. Thank you for all that I have, for all that I am about to receive. I release this into the oneness. I let go, and I let God. And so it is.
And so it is.
Oh, thank you. Time just flies. I'm having fun. And my fear.
Fantastic job.
Well, thank you. My
Good
fear.
often.
Thanks.
Correct.
So, what I would like to do is call the ushers forth to go back. This is our time of doing a collection. See, I don't have I'm just giving it. If you would find in your program, there is a offering, blessing, and affirmation. And I'm going to ask if we can all read this together, and then I'm going to ask the ushers to come forward. We appreciate, in advance, I say, I appreciate all of you giving us, all of your love, all of your caring, all of your support that allows Satya to continue to be. May your life expand and change in wonderful, wonderful ways. So let us read this offering together. First, please. Am I on the right page? Yes. Okay. Joyfully I give with gratitude, for I know that as I give,